Alright, check it out, everybody. Welcome back to Make It Mental. This, for the new people on my channel, this is a brushed motor out of a cordless drill. This is the transmission. It's got a selectable gear ratio in it, high and low speeds. This is a reduction, actually, this is a custom reduction gear, but it was a differential unit out of an old rally car. That's being used as a motor pinion gear. I've had to heavily modify a lot of different pieces to get this to work. Eventually I'm going to get this covered. You're wondering why there's a piece of wood right there. That is just a carrier bearing support. It serves no structural purpose other than to hold a ball bearing, basically. That's all that does. It just holds the ball bearing in place. So it doesn't serve any function. So after modifying this spur gear / reduction gear, I've run into a problem where I would like to use the original chassis brace that goes between here and here, and there's a mount that you can't really see that goes right about where this heat sink is. I really want to put the chassis brace in there, but because this mount takes up so much space, I cannot do that at this particular time. Eventually this brushed motor is going to go away and a brushless motor is going to take its place. So this is just temporary, so that way I can test the vehicle and drive it in the meantime. I'd like to get it operational today if I can, if time permits, but I got a bunch of other things I need to do around the house as always and other things. But it's important to have this chassis brace, at least on this particular vehicle, this Redcatracing Short Course Truck Pro Edition, or, well, it's not the Pro Edition, but the Blackout Edition. The only difference between a Pro and a Blackout is one's brushed and one's brushless. So I got a bunch of chassis flex right here. Let me zoom in a little bit right here. I'm going to lift up gently here on the front end, and you can, since I can stabilize my hand, and you can see the chassis flex. Here we go. You see it slide in and out. That's just going to be hard on your components. Let's see if I can get a little better angle. If you're looking between here and here, you can see that, oops, wrong direction. And I'm just barely moving that. Imagine going over bricks, tree roots, and things like that. That's going to be even harder on your components inside the vehicle. Let me back out. So I need to make a custom mount. So here I found a piece of, I want to call it door jamb, but there's an actual, I think it's called, no, it's not a strike plate. Anyway, I forget the actual name of it. This would be like a bridge between your tile floor and your carpeting for in your house. The previous homeowner left it sitting in the garage, and it feels about the same rigidity, and there is space in there to cut it out. What I need to do is eliminate this area, this where it sticks out. So I'm going to basically just trace out this design, punch out these holes, and copy it, except I'm going to eliminate this. As you see here, like, it's just going to get eliminated because it's no longer going to be necessary, at least for right now, because this heat sink is in the way. When my brushless motor gets here, I do not believe this is going to be an issue. Brushless motor is going to actually run cooler by nature than the brushed motor, because this is basically just a direct short to ground is all this is. And that should be it. I got a stainless steel, or not stainless steel, I got weldable steel if I need to. This is much harder to cut with a Dremel rotary tool. This will take less time. This would probably be stronger and last longer, but this is just a temporary solution. Again, I do want to reuse the factory original piece when I can. Hope you guys get inspired. Get something creative. Save your old parts from your old RCs, even if they might be junk. They might be useful for something else in the future, or your tools in this particular case. Never been a crawler type person, but I guess now that the opportunity presents itself, it is what it is. I've backed off the preload on the shocks all the way. I think I'm going to go with empty the oil out of it and go with probably a 020 motor oil put in here. Probably find some softer springs. Might relocate the shocks, so that way it's easier for the suspension to articulate, even though it's independent suspension on all four corners. That's something to look forward to in the future, or at least keep an eye out for. For right now, this is just a test. Just a test, just to see what it is. It's definitely not going to be a crawler. It's not going to be a rock bouncer because it's going to be too slow for a rock bouncer. It's going to be something in between. I don't know what exactly to call it, but it's going to have a lot of torque, that's for sure. And I'd like to pull my car with it. I'd like to hook a chain and pull a car to it. And I believe it'd do it, but this is my one and only gear that happens to mesh properly with this. So I'm not going to tow anything extremely heavy. Maybe a bag of 80-pound cement or something like that on a skid. Maybe I'll tow that across the grass, or at least attempt to, and see what happens. It shouldn't take much effort, but this motor is so hard to turn by hand to get it to move. I'm worried about this little ESC being able to handle that current just to make it move. Once it's moving, I don't have any problems with it. But the brushless motor will definitely be better. And this is rated at 18 volts. And the ESC that was in there is allegedly 25 amps. So it's going to be quite a bit different scenario. I'm going to run a 2S on it just to see where it is. And we'll go from there. So be prepared for all kinds of modifications when you do something custom like this. All in all, it should be fairly straightforward. Just take your time. Never be in a rush. Think things through. And if you get stuck, walk away. Go watch TV. Go eat a pizza. Go drink a beer. Come back to it a day later, an hour later, a week later, whatever the case may be. And then get a refresh.